absolutely critical that we accelerate. I am convinced beyond any doubt that because of the decisions being made in the marketplace now, because, I mean, you know as well as I do, even if, I don't want this, obviously, but if you wound up with a different president who was opposed to climate crisis, I got news for you. No one politician anywhere in the world can undo what is happening now. The marketplace is doing this.
All right. I was saying real quick, I'm sorry about that. I've always thought about that clip right there. It always just, every once in a while, just pop in my head, man. I always thought it was kind of like an ominous thing for him to say.
It is.
You know, that I don't know if you remember, I played that before on the show, and then that he says that right after Trump won the first primary. Lawfare had already started against him, and nobody was sure how it was going to happen because he wasn't going to the debates or anything like that. But he swept the first primary, he got everything, and like a day later, John Kerry says this right here. So just to me, it was always like, damn, what the hell? Back then, 2 years ago, like, what does he know? You know what I mean? And sure enough, they tried to get Trump twice. Who knows how many times. So they just knew that they weren't going to let this guy, stop what they're doing. And it's just now I think about after Trump won, and now Trump's president. I've thought about it recently, and it's just such a funny clip to watch, man. These people were so damn sure of themselves, and now Trump is oh my God, I just can't believe how much Trump is doing. But real quick, for those who have been listening to our show, we haven't done one since the week before the election.
Yeah.
And now it's February, what? Right here, 4th. Trump is president, and he is sweeping, I don't know, what's the saying? Sweeping house?
Cleaning house.
Cleaning house, sorry. He's cleaning the house,
get
man. I got a real quick list just to kind of start off on, all the stuff that he's done. So there's better lists, but obviously he's tried to impose a 25% tariff with Canada and Mexico, and to make them help stop the fentanyl coming into the country. And then Mexico, I guess, caved, and they're supplying troops at the border. Canada is about to make a deal with Trump. I don't know, this list is kind of, it's pretty vague, I guess, but.
Well, I watched, real quick on that point, I watched Pierre Poilievre. I think that's how you say his name. You know who that is?
Yeah.
So probably the next Prime Minister of Canada, who's actually, not a nut job like Trudeau or a corrupt politician like Trudeau. He said that in Canada, so the fentanyl is pouring across the northern border as well. And the reason is in Canada, all the ingredients to make fentanyl, they're not even watched. They can come across the border, then they just cook it up and send it down, right? Wow. So he's like, it's ridiculous. All the ingredients just pour into the country. We don't even care about it. And then they make this stuff and they spread fentanyl all around the world, and across the border to the United States. So yeah, that's why he's doing it. Not just that, but he's also wants to negotiate better trade agreements so that we're not at a deficit. We're at a deficit in almost every country with trade agreements. Yeah. Yet, like for Canada, we protect them militarily, and Mexico. We protect this side of the world in Europe militarily. We spend fortune of American taxpayer dollars to build up a military ready to protect freedoms of ours and our allies. And yet, at the same time, they expect us to also pay for all that and then trade at a deficit with them as well. It's ridiculous. We can either trade at a deficit with you, and you can protect yourself, or we can start evening out this trade to where it's fair, and then we'll maintain that protection. But you can't have it both ways. They want, protect us while we rip you off.
Yeah, exactly.
No, and we're gonna allow fentanyl to pour into your country and ours. They don't even care. They don't give a shit. Like Trudeau, Biden, they don't care about America. Go ahead and die. We don't care. Like,
Yeah.
they just don't care about people at all. And that's the funny thing is all the people out there, the righteous warriors who are on their side, think that they're like on this righteous ground and that they care about people. It's all a facade. They just say the words to get you thinking that, but then they don't care.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's a righteous trade war, or whatever the hell people want to call it. Trump's doing it for the right reasons. He's not doing it just for money. Obviously, it helps both, but I mean, it could start. It starts with that. I think he's really trying to stop the fentanyl from coming in. So real quick, just to name kind of all the whole list people might know out there, but so it's people have to do their own research. But this list right here sums up a lot of it. So Mexico caved, Panama caved, Colombia caved, Venezuela caved, Canada panicking, mass deportations, hostages are home, DEI programs ended, bureaucracy slashed, FBI purges are underway, USAID funding canceled, gender ideology eliminated, Doge, Department of Government Efficiency, already saved the billions, 51 intel agents lost clearances and are barred from entering any federal building, including John Bolton and Mark Milley and who else? The CIA guy, Brett Brenner. What's his name?
Yeah,
David Brenner. Right. Border crossings dropped by 93%. Reservoirs filled up in California. It's just to name a few developments, man. That's only like probably half of the things he's done. Like,
right.
It's not even including the JFK, RFK, and MLK files have already been, signed to be released. It's like, oh my God. And it's only been, 15 days? 16 days?
Yeah.
Like
no.
I don't even know what to expect anymore. Like, what's left?
Yeah.
Other than
it's a lot. So this is the way I see it. I think this is his thinking. This is my impression of it, is what Trump is doing is like, he's like, okay, look, we've had a corrupt government who only cared about themselves. They pretended to care about other people. Oh, we care about the poor migrants. We care about the trans people. We care about all these other weird things that they don't care about. And their whole goal was to seize power and probably make a one world government. That was their goal. And so Trump is going in the meantime, they raised energy prices by regulating coal, gas, and oil, not allowing drilling in a lot of places, et cetera. And that was intentionally to deplete the American people of their buying power, of their wealth, so that they would be powerless against this sort of tyrannical government. So what Trump is doing, he's saying, look, what needs to happen is we need to get the United States back in shape, in healthy, and strong, right? And once we do that, okay, now we can expand this around the world, not expand it in the way that it's like an invasion, but we can expand this healthy strength around the world. We can now start helping others, right? But before we help others, we need to help ourselves. We need to get our own house back in shape. We are in a bad place. So we fix this, then our strength comes into play. Then we can go ahead and say, hey, let's deal with the rest of the people around the world that we can help. Can't help everybody. We only, 350 million, maybe pushing 400 million out of whatever, 8-9 billion people in the world. We can't help everybody, but we can't help nobody the way we're doing it. All we're doing is we're not helping people. We're just hurting ourselves right now. And that was an intentional play by our government and the previous government and, the oligarchy of billionaires and et cetera, whoever's pulling the strings behind the scenes. This was all intentional to weaken the United States. So he's going to strengthen the United States. Once the United States is strengthened, then you can start helping other nations and other societies. Until that happens, you can't. It's kind of like, if there's an accident, say like a car accident, and there's like power lines down on the car, right? Now that person in the car needs help. That would be the United States, right? But you can't go in there and help them right away without doing it the right way, because you're going to get electrocuted.
Yeah.
Right? So you need to shut off the power somehow remove those electrical lines from being a
Get
danger before you can
get
get
the
to the person
obstacles
in the
out of the way.
car. Right. And so the person in the car can't help anybody right now, but once you have the dangers removed, then you can help the person in the car. Then the person in the car, now he's safe and strong. Now he's able to help other people, but you can't make a situation better by hurting yourself. And that's
Yeah.
pretty much what I'm saying. So if that guy rushed in and he would get electrocuted, and that's like the United States, like we need to fix our own stuff first. We can't just help everybody while we're in a bad way, because that just makes everything worse.
But
So I think that's where his philosophy is something along those lines.
the thing though, if you think about it, is which is completely incredible, bro, is that he's doing everything simultaneously. He's actually addressing the economy, fixing the economy, making decisions to fix the economy, deal with the bureaucracy, deal with the deep state. He's doing trade decisions. He's bombing Somalia. He's actually, what I mean, like doing foreign policy, military attacks. He's getting hostages home. He just what did he do? He just ended aid to Africa for addressing, I guess, some sort of thing that's going on over there where they're murdering farmers, and I forgot what part of Africa. And he's doing that all at the same time, and he's dealing with they're dealing with the media. He's getting people in place in the government, in his government, all the positions that that think like him, and holy crap, man, it's just like every angle he's doing all within 12 days. He's already positioned all of it.
Right.
So,
Well,
yeah,
and the reason,
he's
a
moving
big
warp
reason
speed. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
that I agree. It's the reason, like one of the big reasons that all this stuff had happened in the past, prior to this administration. Here's a couple of examples. It's they always say follow the money, you'll find the truth. So here's a couple of examples of where the money is going to show you the truth. I think it was $50 million we were sending to the Palestinians in Gaza for condoms. We didn't buy no condoms. Why would you buy condoms for Palestinians? Right? It makes no sense. They don't even believe in sex outside of marriage. But even if they are having sex outside of marriage, whatever, why would Americans be paying for condoms at the tune of, I think it was 50 million? They found that out. So that 50 million is basically, being given to some agency to send over to Gaza. But the people are just keeping the money, these politicians. So they are just fleecing the American public of their money and keeping it. Zelensky just came out and said, out of the 175 billion the United States Congress authorized to Ukraine, he's gotten 75 billion. Yeah, 102 billion is missing. Well, more than half of it is missing. So this is just a shell game. They're making you feel bad. Oh, these poor Palestinians, they need condoms. I guess that you're supposed to feel bad. Are these poor Ukrainians? They're being attacked by the Russians. We need to send them money, but then they're keeping the money.
Yeah.
Right? It's all bullshit to get you ginned up emotionally so that you'll get on board, put your Ukraine sticker on the car, and then send them billions of dollars of your money. And then the people who are running this shell game, they keep most of that money. They're all getting stupid rich off of your emotions. Like Zelensky, people, go ahead and support Ukraine, and I'm not. The people are fine, but the leader Zelensky, he jailed people who opposed him politically. He shut down TV stations who opposed him politically. That's what Putin does. That's a tyrant. But we need to go to work, pay taxes so that they can take money out of our paycheck to send it to a tyrant over in the Ukraine.
Yeah.
But they got you, but you're just thinking on emotion. And that's where your thinking ends. It doesn't. There is no thinking there. It's just the emotional response. Oh, the poor people of Ukraine, and you don't look any further, and you just believe it. And then they say, "Thank you for the money, sir. Get up and go to work again and again and again, so I can have a mansion, a swimming pool, a nice life, while you work your ass off, and we feed you some bullshit So you'll get emotional. Oh, the poor refugees from everywhere we need to help all of them. We shouldn't have any borders. We got you emotional.
Yeah.
Now we're going to fund all this programs for illegal immigrants, trans, whatever, right? You're all emotional about it. You won't think anymore, right? And so we fund all these programs and then we keep most of it. You don't know where the money went, but you got up, went to work and made it. How do you feel getting up, going to work every day, working your butt off? Most people, a lot of people living paycheck to paycheck. They're taking your taxes too and giving it to these people and keeping most of it.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's what it's really about. And that's why they don't want Trump in there, is because they've been seizing so much money and power. It's been stupid good for them that they don't want that to go away, and they want more of it. It's never enough. And so that's I think that's why we're in the situation where everyone's opposing a legitimate government, is because they're not legitimate and they're getting rich off of it. Stupid rich.
Well, this whole latest revelation about USAID, which I've never even really thought about, until the last couple of weeks. Like it's just been all over X, and they're just constantly talking about it. And sure enough, they shut it down. They themselves they deleted their Twitter account. So all kinds of stuff started happening. So all the information that's coming out about that for sure is now proving that it's been just a money laundering scheme. Everything, the whole thing is just a way to launder money. And then I think for sure they're going to be able to track that money. Like there's no way they won't get to the bottom of where it went, how it was dispersed, especially $100 billion. Like how do you not keep track of that? Like if it left, what is the Treasury of the United States? It got sent to, or was it? You know what? I want to say that I heard that they're actually literally sending cash. So maybe they won't be able to track it, bro. Because if they're doing cash, I would have thought they were just doing it electronic, like a Bazal.
Well, I don't know that they're going to be able to track it so much. Who got the money that they stole?
At least the last person that got the money.
That would be more difficult to figure out, but you can track whether the money was received where it was sent. It was supposed to go, right? And Zelensky's coming out going, hey, man, I didn't get the money. Yeah. The tyrant who jails people for opposing him is now telling you the United States is more corrupt than me.
They could audit all the members of Congress, no? And say they could audit. It could be just, just for U.S. taxpayers, security, like to make sure that the money was not, funneled back to them. They could justify it that way, like just to audit everybody. Like, hey, if you're on the level, like we're gonna audit you, but
the under this administration, there probably will be audits like that occur on individuals.
That's the only way.
And not just individuals, but corporations, entities, the USAID, whatever. That's probably where all this money is getting funneled through, is the U.S. aid program. For the condoms, for the military aid that they're siphoning off. The majority of that money is probably going through there, so they'll be able to figure a lot of this out for sure. But the point is like this is why it's happening. It's about money and power. And if you think, if anybody out there thinks we should send $50 million to Gaza for condoms, while you got so many people homeless and veterans homeless and just people homeless here, and just people struggling here to make ends meet, while we're buying condoms for terrorists, what the fuck is wrong with you people?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, are you this stupid? Like, really? I mean, I hate to say it like that, but it's not even an intelligence thing. It's an emotional thing. Like I said, they get people emotional about it. Oh, you need to care. Then once they get you caring about something, then they can just take your money. They just reach into your pocket and take it. And you're like, hey, that's fine. No, you don't even have to reach in there. Let me get it for you because I care. Okay, so, it's good that you care. That means you're a good person, but you're not using your brain.
Yeah.
Right? Use your brain. There's good people out there who are going to do things with your money that's going to be legitimate, and then there's bad people, and you have to discern between the two because they're both there. And don't just assume because they sound good, that they're legitimate. You got to see what they do. And now we can see, this is the tip of the iceberg. I can only imagine what else we're going to find out. But the tip of the iceberg that we've already found out is paying for condoms for fucking terrorists. 50 million paying, for a war to secure borders around the world, when in the same breath, the same people supporting that will say, yeah, but we shouldn't secure our own.
Yeah.
Well, do they matter or don't they? If we shouldn't have a border, why should Ukraine have a border?
Yeah.
Right? It makes no sense. Like, make sense. Use your brain. Quit thinking with emotion. I think that's the biggest problem.
Yeah, for sure. I was looking for a clip that Caroline Levitt, the new press secretary, she did like a real quick press conference like outside of the White House. I think she listed off like 5 or 6 things. I don't know if you saw the clip.
I haven't seen it all, but I'm sure there's more coming. So
she lists off how they were using money from funneled through U.S. aid for DEI programs and transgender education throughout the world, and it was ridiculous. It was like $36,000 for a comic book, like in Guatemala, or like weird, like random shit. Like, like I was trying to find the clip, but I found this one right here. But I don't know. I saw it got community notice. So I'm not sure if this is accurate, but I'm pretty sure this is kind of on the level. So, kind of on the kind of what was going on. So this information says that the Pentagon spent $600 million a year on sushi. The IRS is spending $230,000 on a month on Starbucks cinnamon roast K-cups. So that breaks down to $1,280 per little disposable plastic cup used to drink coffee from.
Right, and at the end of the day, are they actually doing that? Well, who would do that?
Yeah, they're keeping the for sure.
They're keeping the money. They're paying an inflated price, right? So that Starbucks will keep quiet if they figure it out. So Starbucks is making money, right? So they are paying an inflated price of what I would pay for it, but they're not paying anywhere near what you just said.
Yeah.
Most of that money is being funneled to politicians' families, power brokers' families, etc. The rich are getting richer, and the poor are getting poorer. And the poor are out in the streets, or have been out in the streets, protesting that the rich should get richer.
Yeah.
The whole time thinking that they're protesting that the rich need to pay their fair share. You're literally telling me the rich need to pay their fair share while you're supporting unknowingly them getting richer by this method.
Yeah.
And what think about it, like, why would they care about transgender so much? Why is this such a big issue, right? Well, we need to worry about transgender surgeries in Guatemala. Why would that be important, right? Like, it's bizarre.
It's basically divide and conquer. I think that was strategy all over the world, especially right here in the United States. It was just to divide the populations, and then steal the elections and just keep doing that. And they're trying to destroy the economy here in the United States. So it was just a big World Economic Forum plan that they were implementing in every country all over the world. You see, the same thing that happened here happened in England, in Ireland, in Italy, in Spain, everywhere. Like, they flooded them with immigrants, and they tried to overwhelm the economies there with this.
Which means if they're doing that, right, and we can see that means it's not one government, one country controlling this. That's proof of a billionaire oligarchy, one world government, there. Yeah. How has every government all of a sudden gone insane? Like, what we need to prioritize is transgender surgeries for third graders, right? Like,
yeah.
And the reason they're doing that, well, the transgender part anyway, because the divide and conquer is legitimate. You're absolutely right on that. I agree 100%. But there's more to it than that. The transgender thing isn't even so much a divide and conquer issue. A lot of them are, right? And this one is too. But I think the bigger thrust on this is just demonic. This is to break down the family. This is to break down God's structure. That's why. I mean, this is sexual deviance on a whole new level that the world's never seen. And I think I think that you got this demonic stuff going on there.
Yeah.
And you just look at the frickin' Emmys or the Grammys. It's a show of demonic. It's a demonic show now. It's all it's been for years now. Like, they ain't even hiding it, right? And people will go, well, I don't believe in God. Well, then, I mean, they do. All the people you're watching on TV, they're coming out with devil horns on, all satanic imagery and all this stuff. The Olympics, same thing, all the satanic imagery. So they believe in it. And, explain the transgender thing to me. I don't care if you're liberal or even if you're a liberal. Explain that to me. Like, on what planet does that make sense to you? You know what? Someone's confused about their gender. So you know what? Let's go ahead and confirm that and say, you know what? You're right. You're not wrong. You're not confused. God just made a mistake. Nature made a mistake. It's stupid, right?
Well, I think it's, it was the same concept. Just the population of the planet is so big that they'll get a large amount of people that are for just the most outrageous, positions. That's why even Satanism was being protected. They were trying to normalize pedophilia. They were calling them minor attracted adults or something like that. So they're trying to change the name and trying to normalize everything. So obviously they're trying to make you choose a side. And obviously the right side is being against that, but they'll find a small group of people that are soft people. How could I say it? Yeah. That would side with them and just. So I'm looking up this.
It's funny, the semantics of the way they try to explain things. What did you say a pedophile was? How'd they explain it?
Minor attracted adult or something like that. Minor attracted adult.
Oh, okay. So then a murderer is a death attracted adult. A rapist is a fun loving adult. A thief is a anti-responsibility adult. Right? We can like phrase up anything to sound good or not crazy as it is. But it's all bullshit, and people know it. But the reason that people get on board with this stuff is the emotional part of it, and then if there's something in it for them, right? Like, are they going to do something for me? And if they are, then I'm willing to look the other way on the insanity that they're spewing.
Yeah. I'm trying to look up. How the money was funneled. I found this one right here. It kind of breaks down how U.S. aid works. So basically, it says right here: politicians create NGOs. Politicians then appropriate billions of taxpayer dollars to federal agencies like USAID. Federal agencies like USAID pay the NGOs to exist. Politicians then get paid by the NGOs they created, and politicians get rich.
Right.
So it's kind of a simple process, and bro. Hold on, there was another one I found.
And people aren't criticizing them or holding them to account, because most people don't even if they weren't doing this, most people ain't paying attention. But when you are paying attention, then they just go, you know what? Well, let's divide and conquer. Let's get you emotional. That's playbook 101 for corruption. Let's get you thinking emotionally, so you're not thinking actually, and let's get you divided. Hey, you pitting people against each other, and it's old. People are fucking sick of this stuff.
Yeah. Here I found this one.
Just crazy.
I found this statistic right here from the actual Doge Department of Government Efficiency X account. So it's basically programs that have been canceled that were for DEI education and programs. So I'll just list off kind of the biggest ones. This is a big list. Office of Personal Management had $516 million, would get $560 million for DEI programs and awareness and education. The Department of Agriculture, $112 million. USAID would get $375 million. So Musk and Trump canceled all these programs. So now they've saved $1,259 million just on canceling DEI related programs, bro. So it's
right.
It's
and you know what they're going to do with that money now? Now they're going to say, you know what? You don't have to pay tax on overtime. We might decrease your income tax. or
Yeah.
eliminate it altogether.
That's
Things
what I was
like
wondering.
that. So now the money that they're saving, all the people who were against Trump and they had you emotionally strung out, taking your tax money to pay for, whoever's sex change. Now they're going to give that money to you in the form of less taxes.
Yeah.
What sounds better to you, right? And then if you want to take that money that you're not that's not being taken from you by the government for nonsense programs, and if you want to take that money that they didn't take from you and go ahead and put it into that nonsense program, then go ahead and make that choice. You can take that same tax money they took out of your check and give it to whatever group wants to do transgender surgeries or immigration, whatever. You can whatever cause you support.
Yeah.
Go ahead and you make your own decision.
Yeah.
Don't have the government take the money and then make the decision for you, because they've been funding everybody but you.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to fund everybody but you, go ahead, but keep your money and do what you want with it. That's the difference between the old government and this government. You decide what you do with your money. The old government says, no, we'll decide.
Yeah. Yeah, Doge, they're actually being pretty consistent on how fast they're moving too, man. The latest tweet 17 hours ago says, all in today, 36 contracts were terminated for a total savings of $165 million across 6 agencies.
Right. I mean, that's probably the best thing that they've done. This is probably going to be the most beneficial thing for Americans out of everything that they've been doing so far is government efficiency, because the amount of waste of your money, I mean, like I said, you and I, we get up and go to work every day and grind, and like most Americans, and they take our money and just throw it away to nonsense, and then they keep half of it for themselves. And so this government efficiency is going to figure all that out, where all the money's been going, and they'll be able to cut all this waste, which means you have to pay less taxes. You get more money in your
That's what I was going to ask
then
earlier.
How
long do you think before it reflects, like on our paychecks and stuff like that? It should take a few months, at least half a year, before it starts.
It'll take a little while. It's hard to say exactly. I think it would be faster if we didn't have the tariff thing going on right now. But the tariff thing's important, right? So right now, well, look, Trump's making an omelet. This is the best way I could say it. I think Trump's making an omelet. Right now, he's breaking eggs. So right now, it ain't so pretty or tasty. The eggs ain't cooked up. There ain't no other ingredients put in it. You got shells everywhere. But a little ways down the road, you're going to have a nice tasty omelet. And you're going to be like, yeah, that's good. And that's what this whole situation with Doge is going to do is, if they save all this money and they're still collecting the same amount of taxes, your taxes haven't gone down. Well, now the federal government has a lot of extra money. Okay. And you have a legitimate government now whose intention is to help you. What are they going to do with that money? They're going to cut your taxes.
Yeah.
Right? So, and then reduce the cost of energy by deregulating oil, gas, and coal, and opening up the pipeline.
Yeah.
So those two things alone should bring the price down of gas and products, everything.
Yeah, everything.
And the other one's you're gonna have more money in your paycheck and lower prices for everything.
Yeah.
And they got people so emotional over transgender, border, whatever, that they're like, no, I'm going to fight for less money and higher prices for myself because I care.
Yeah.
You care about what? Making politicians rich? Because that's where the money's going. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, they'll spend some on this nonsense because they have to keep up the facade, but they don't care about it at all. It's just nonsense to fool you so that you'll not understand that they're taking that money, a lot of it.
Yeah. Real quick, I misspoke earlier. The amount of money that was saved from canceling all those DEI programs was $1 billion, not $1 trillion.
Yeah, I was going to say when I heard 1 trillion, I was like, damn. They said they could cut 2 trillion out of the budget, but that was quick.
Yeah, no, it was 1
But
billion.
but the trillion will come.
Oh yeah, I mean that's their goal to get at least I think it's at 2 trillion by next year. But I think that they're moving faster than they even thought. I think U.S. aid probably opened up a lot that they never even considered. And real quick, just earlier I blanked out on when we were talking about the minor attracted adults. I was thinking about the word was capital punishment. It's like state executions. So people that are against all that stuff because. People like the Congressman Paulina Luna, like they want pedophiles to face the death penalty and stuff like that. So they're trying to normalize that whole thing. So they have people on one side or the other, so people against
and what kind of people? What kind of people want children having transgender surgeries or little boys dressing as girls or vice versa are there? Like, pedophilia is not bad. Like, what kind of sick people are these, and why would anybody support that?
I wish I had the clip of that lady. It was like some lady, man. She looked like a lunatic, man, but she made a video and it looked like a well produced video, like a educational video. She's just talking about it like it's like a normal thing, like we should consider it. What the hell is these people thinking, man?
If anybody can be anything, right? Like, and we can just put a label on it that sounds nice, even though it's bad.
Yeah.
Then what? Then you guys got to shut up about Trump, because I could just spin that. If you want to call him a racist, I could just say something like, "Well, he's an ethnic."
Don't say cleansing.
Ethnic cleansing. No, he's an ethnic proponent adult, or whatever. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you just say some positive words behind some racist shit.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I'm calling it.
That's how they do it.
But I'm saying it's not bad. He was just born that way. But he's not a racist. But you get my point. Is like, you guys want to take bad people and spin it with some semantics as if it's good. Well, then when I spin Trump into something good, then you got to agree with it.
Yeah.
I mean, we're just playing these fucking word games. It's like it's just.
Well, that reminded me of the new FAA, whatever the hell he is, commissioner. He was on the other day, and he was talking about these DEI programs in the FAA or in the that they're trying to change the word cockpit from cockpit to like control platform or something, because I guess they didn't like the word cockpit.
So because you know what, they're idiots. You know why?
That's what he was saying. Like, why are they focused on words like this, and they should be focused on their job? That's like completely irrelevant. Like,
I mean, yeah, it's just if we get rid of the word cockpit, then everything will be cool. Right? That's important. Like, even watching the news last night out here, for California, a big part of LA just burned. Like, we had these massive fires. So you got thousands of homes and businesses burned and people out of work and out of their house. And what are they talking about? They're on the news, Gavin Newsom and the rest of the politicians in California, talking about, we got to Trump-proof California. We got to stop California from Trump's policies. Bro, your city's on fire.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think
they tell you right there. They tell you right there, we don't give a crap about the population. All we care about is our power and money, and Trump's a threat to that. That's exactly what they're saying.
Yeah. Because
the emergency that's right in front of them is not as important as stopping a political opponent.
Yeah. Well, I think they did. They passed policies right in the middle of the fire to, what are they saying? The Trump-proof California. Like $50 million were like allocated to try to stop Trump's policies in California right as in the middle of the fire. So their priorities are just all messed up.
And who are they to say, you know what? It's funny. Like, think about that. So all we hear in Congress on these hearings, not all, but a big part of it was over and over. Can you say that Trump won or lost the 2020 election? Can you say that? Why can't you say that? Yet at the same time, they all want to say, hey, we're going to make policies to oppose the person who just got elected. In other words, we don't accept that he won.
Yeah.
Well, if he won, then you can't be against try to stop him, because you're saying that we don't accept it. So you don't accept this election, but all you want to talk about is how he doesn't accept the last one. Like, it's wrong. There's hypocrisy is so everything they do is hypocritical.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, it looks like he's gonna Patel, Tulsi, and the candidates saying they're all gonna get in, so it's just a matter of time before.
Yeah, they're all. I mean, so we haven't done this since the election. So, we've been so far in this podcast basically talking about, the bad things that are going on and the good things, I guess, too. But we haven't really just relished in the moment of like, hey, we made it, we were in such a bad place, and now we won this election. America won this election. The world won this election. This is going to help everybody. Well, most people. And it's a big deal. And, we should be really happy about that. So I don't want to be too this, that, but at the same time, we got to be, enjoy it and be happy that, America's back and is growing in strength again. Definitely. But at the same time, don't fall into the same trap, I guess, is the point, where you fall into their trap again, where down the road you're like, well, I don't know, man. They got me emotional. They're telling me this guy's a racist. This guy doesn't like women. Let's all pit ourselves against each other again and just think with our emotions. Just let's not go there again. We know what happens.
Well, I brought it up a bunch of times throughout the episodes we've done, but I still think he needs to do something about the media. I think for sure. I mean, there has to be some sort of.
Well, he already did, right? Like, so when they announced that there's going to be new media in the White House briefing.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. So he's already done that. And I like it because he's doing it like in a way that I think I would do it, or is like, let's just open it up to more credible media, so more voices will be heard, and the established corrupt propaganda, government propaganda, isn't the only voice that's on your TV or your podcast or whatever that you can watch. Yeah. And like I said, like we were talking about these congressional hearings, and we talked about this in the last podcast, and you and I talked about it yesterday. These congressional hearings are money. Like, it's so interesting to watch them, because you can see how childish and ridiculous these people are, and you can see the truth instead of watching this legacy media that's run by the Democrats. All you're going to get is their spin off there. You can watch this directly. And I think people are seeing that with these confirmation hearings, because people are kind of paying attention to it. But this is how the majority of congressional committees go. I watched a lot of them on a lot of different issues, and they're way more entertaining than the news, and way more informative, because I get to see how the people who are actually making the decisions behave. I get to see what their positions are. I get to see the evidence for myself. I don't have to run it through some state-run, polished up media figure who's just going to spin it in the favor of the government, who wants to divide me so they can steal from me.
Yeah.
Because that's what you do when you turn on NBC, ABC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC. That's what you're doing, is you're saying, hey, propagandize me so that I won't know. I'll think that what's true isn't, and what's isn't true is, and therefore I'll get emotional about it. You can divide me, and then I'll be happy to pay for anything you want, because you fooled me. But you're choosing to be fooled by turning on known liars.
Yeah.
So I think this is a really clear case of how you can avoid, how you can deal with the media, right? They're not going to be able to propagandize you if no one's watching it. They have no platform, and so he has done something about that already in the fact that he's bringing in all other media into the White House briefing now. So that's a really good thing, and I
Yeah,
think
for
that's the way
sure.
it should be. I don't want to. I don't like the idea of the government saying, "Hey, CBS, you can't say this, you can't say that," right? Unless it's so outrageous, right, that it would actually cause a panic in the streets, kind of thing. But other than that, I don't want to tell them they can't lie. Go ahead and lie. I'm going
What
to
do you
turn you off.
what do you think of
I'm
him
going to shut
suing
you off,
the?
and you're going to have no ratings. You're going to have no money. You're going to have no career.
What do you think of him
Huh?
suing these news stations like MSNBC, CNN, suing them?
I'm fine with that because he's probably
Yeah,
suing them for defamation and
yeah,
libel, which they're actually absolutely guilty of. And on a personal level, as a private citizen,
yeah.
he's totally entitled to do that. They've lied about him. They've maligned his character. They've just trashed his reputation.
They're trying to counter that
And
by
it's
saying
all
that
been
that's intimidation. That they're just trying to intimidate them into, you know.
Well, we'll let the courts decide whether he's right or wrong. That's why we have courts, right?
Yeah,
He's going to
exactly.
sue them. They're going to defend themselves. They go to court. You let a judge and a jury decide who's right and who's wrong. So they can have their position. He can have his, and let the justice system decide, fairly, who's right and wrong. And if he's wrong, then he'll lose. If he's right, then he'll win. What's wrong with that, right? It should be no, no, no. We should be able to lie to everybody in the world and trash anybody's reputation, libel them, slander them if they don't get on board with our insane policy so that we can rob you blind. Then if you come after me, well, then that's an intimidation tactic. No, you
Yeah,
guys have been bullying, robbing, stealing, dividing, right?
yeah.
The whole time. You guys are the intimidators. And now someone's fighting back and you're like, hey, you can't fight back. I punch you in the face. You just say, hey,
Yeah,
please don't punch me again. I might punch you again, depends on how you act, but you
yeah.
cannot punch me back. That's their position.
I guess the only reason I'm kind of worried about them, and I still want them just to be held accountable. I want them just to crush them, basically. Yeah, just to have them have to sell their companies, and maybe it's just the better people buy the companies that are just more honest. It's because I keep getting irritated every time I hear Republicans say that, oh, we might lose the House in the midterm elections, we might lose the Senate, yada yada yada, because that's just the way it's been for decades.
Yeah. That's
That
usually
is,
how it goes.
no, but I don't understand that. How in this case, how the hell could that be? He's doing so much stuff. He's been saving so much money. What
Well,
would
we're a
a
long way from that,
how could
right?
voters, unless it's not really based on Republicans that voted for him to be president, all of a sudden gonna be like in the midterms, be like, you know what? Nah, he's making me mad. I'm gonna vote for Democrat this time. Like, or is it that people just don't vote in the midterms? Could that be what
Well,
it
you
is?
have a big thing where people don't vote nearly as much, for sure. The voting is way down
Yeah,
compared to
that for
the
sure. Yeah,
presidential. But
but
okay, so
I think in this
it's
case, I think it'd still be big. I think he could still mobilize a big vote. I mean, he did when he was first president. I still remember the midterms when he was president. I never thought about him, and even he was kind of surprised. Well, nobody ever cared about the midterms until now. I'm president now. Everybody cares about the midterms and stuff like that. But I just see
no,
him
it's a good point.
sweeping it. Like I still see him winning even those. So I don't like hearing
Well,
that.
it's a good point, but let's not get too far ahead of ourselves, right? We just won this election. We got 2 years to go. Um, we should be happy, and very cautiously, but happy that this was a struggle of a lifetime. Honestly, it really was. Like the amount of just relief and joy I had over that election
Oh,
result
yeah,
was palpable. I've never been so concerned for this country. Not even close. There's nothing even close in my lifetime. And I'm in my 50s. Nothing even close to I've never been concerned like that. Like we were on the cusp of just failure.
yeah. Oh
And
yeah,
so we've redeemed ourselves and come back. And so we got 2 years before the midterms. Now I'll say for the midterms this time around, it probably will be different. And you made a good point that Trump's able to rally. Trump's a special person, man, God given. There's something special about him, and I think it's through God. But he will definitely be able to. The midterms will probably be way more voting this time than last time, but it's going to really hinge on what the effect on the average American's life has been over the last 2 years. What
Yeah.
sorts of results have happened for you, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Is it true that your taxes went down? Is it true that the prices went down? This is going to be the key.
Yeah.
Like if those two things happen in a major way, he'll win the midterms. The Republicans will win the midterms, and Trump's not even a Republican, but you get it.
Yeah.
He calls himself a Republican because you have to be one or the other to win in this system. But point is that if those things come through, he'll win the midterms, or the Republicans will win the midterms. If they don't come through, they won't win them. I mean, it's really going to come down to the pocketbook. It usually does. I think that's why Trump won this time, because even the people who were like, I fucking hate Trump, right?
Yeah.
They're like, dude, I can't even survive.
Yeah.
Everything's so expensive that it's ridiculous, right? And so I think it was their pocketbook that really got a lot of people to change their minds and say, you know what? I don't like him, but I can't sustain my life like this. I'm having trouble feeding my kids, kind of stuff. And this is real, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's what it'll be. If the economy, the taxes go down, there's more money in your pocket, and the things cost less, people ain't going to want to give that up. If that doesn't happen, they're going to want to change.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I think, but I agree, there will be bigger voting in the midterms because Trump is probably the most polarizing president in the United States history. It may be the most polarizing leader of the world ever, or damn near. Yeah. But I think in a mixed way. To me, it's a positive. To some people, it's a negative. But other ones that have been polarizing like this have either been super good or super bad. They're, like Hitler or Gandhi. Gandhi wasn't a leader, but you get the idea.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess the other thing that kind of made me just think about it was just the amount of at the end of the day, even the Republicans, nobody's going to be able to deny the results. So they have to be on board with everything he does. Or I'm sorry, what I was going to say is that nothing can really throw the momentum off. I can't picture. I think in the past we've said only in world wars, you don't think it could throw them off or something like that. But there's no world wars even close to happening right now. The closest is Russia and Ukraine, but there's nothing else that could really set off to throw off Trump's momentum right now. Even anything in the United States, if there was like another George Floyd, I think what they did with the U.S. aid was really, like I said yesterday, man, they really got them by the balls. I think they don't got no money to fund stuff like that anymore. They're going to have to really come out of their pocket. And because it turns out even, George Soros was the boogeyman for the longest time. People thought, oh, George Soros is funding this and funding that. But it turns out from what Doge is finding out is that even George Soros using U.S. aid money for some of this stuff. So even so even in the United States, there can't be no protests like there were like in when Trump's first administration. So there's nothing. It's really going to be at the end. Everything he's doing right now is for sure going to benefit the country. The voters are going to see it. The politicians aren't going to be able to deny it. So they'll be for him to pass all of his all the stuff he wants. So I just don't see the midterms being a problem. So I guess every time I just have heard it a few times, people, different politicians are being interviewed and they just say, oh yeah, the midterms, we might lose the House and this and that. I'm like, Father, how could you say that? Like, how do you not feel optimistic?
Well, it's just the history of it. That's normally how it goes.
Yeah, I know they're just stuck on that, but not this time.
But we're in a different time right now where this is different.
This is for sure different.
But like I said, it's not so much what they're going to do to undermine him, because they're going to try everything, obviously. But I think he'll be able to deal with that. It's going to come down to what he accomplishes. Does he reduce taxes? Does he reduce prices? If he does those two things in a significant manner, which I think he will, but we have to wait for it to happen. It hasn't happened yet, so I can't say it's going to happen for sure. But I think it's a high probability. And if that probability comes true, then they'll win the midterms, which would be unusual, but um, but yeah, I mean,
Well,
if you've been financially struggling like most people, and all of a sudden, Trump gets elected in those first 2 years, all of a sudden you've got more money and you're paying less and you're doing well and you're thriving, you're not going to give that up.
yeah.
They're going to be like, well, we need to, do some more trans surgeries and bring some more people from wherever into the country. People are going to go, fuck that. My life's
Yeah.
good. Right.
Well,
We'll help them. We'll help them. We'll help people when we can, but we're not going to help them at our own demise anymore. Because that's what we've been doing. We've been destroying ourselves, to supposedly help other people. But really what we've been helping is the rich, which is ironic because Democrats, liberals are like, oh, the rich, they're bad. They're bad. You guys are the party of the rich.
yeah.
Name a company that's not run by a Democrat, a rich Democrat, other than like Elon Musk. I mean, there's very few. And so they've been fleecing, taking your money this whole time. And you can see it now.
Yeah.
I mean, you want a condom, go to Gaza. Apparently they got $50 million worth of condoms there. Like, why would you, it's so stupid. Like, why would, and you think about it too, like these guys go attack Israel, steal a bunch of women, kidnap a bunch of women, bring them back, and they're going to rape them, and then we're going to send them condoms at the tune of $50 million.
Yeah, no shit.
Like, we're basically like, yeah, go ahead and rape them, but just don't impregnate them.
Well, they're saying that they think they
The
use the
fuck is
condoms
wrong?
to create bombs. I don't know how the hell they do it. They fill them
Oh
up.
yeah,
with,
maybe I heard something like that too.
some sort of shit like that. But it's funny you kind of saying that. It'll be unusual for if Trump won, if the Republicans won the House and Senate again. I think that just the way the system's been for decades has been manipulated forever. I think through keep saying the name over and over, but USAID. I think they just had a complete racket of manipulation, man. Like they just get money to manipulate the system, and it would just balance itself out over and over as long as the system was in place. As long as they were getting their money and they were able to fund all these programs around the world, they will manipulate it that way so that whoever won in the midterms, they didn't win again. It was too much power. But this time around, losing that money, I think for sure is going to tip the balance. I think or at least make it more honest, and they're going to see that the real voters are going to go the right way. Because it just reminded me of something that happened in that was revealed about the elections in Georgia. Georgia's where they canceled the elections, no?
When? What do you mean they canceled them?
In Georgia, the country, Georgia.
What about? I don't know what you're talking about.
So basically, what they revealed in Doge is that in Georgia, the country, I think they canceled the elections because the person they didn't want to won, or something like that. So it turns out that USAID was funding over 90% of the media there. So, what I mean? So it tells you like they've been manipulating elections for a long time. You know what I mean? Like this system, like nobody ever considered USAID as that bad. I don't know how the money was being spent. Nobody had a clue, or the people that did were just probably weren't even being listened to. But so yeah, I think even like the midterms here in the United States have been manipulated constantly. So
well, I think the midterms. I mean, don't get me wrong. Our government's been corrupt for a very, very long time, and consolidating this corruption and tyranny for a very, very long time, right? And they got to a point recently where, hey, they were about to just lock it down completely. If we didn't win this election, I don't think we would have ever had freedom again. But I think for the midterms, traditionally, the reason people generally vote the other way is because people, it's just their nature, right? I think this is the biggest factor. It's just people's nature that they're always looking for greener grass. Oh, the grass is greener over there, right? It's green here, but it's, I think it might be greener over there. And so they're like, they want more. Give me more, more, more. So my point is, in order to win the midterms as a sitting party, you need to make your grass super green to where they can't be like, you know what, it's greener over there. They'll be like, dude, this stuff is green. We're good,
Yeah.
right? You need to make it overwhelmingly good
Yeah, that's
for
what I was
people
about to say.
to not have that natural inclination to say, you know what, I want change that's going to be even better.
Yeah.
You want to make it so good that it's like almost hard to see how it could be better. So then they're like, okay, yeah, we're not leaving this field. This grass is nice.
Well, that's what I think
So
Trump is doing. He's for sure doing some extremely positive decisions, man, that they're going to be undeniable, you know, like that.
I agree, but the ones that really matter to the average American, because like we were talking about before, is most Americans don't really know. They have opinions, but they don't have a lot of information to back up those opinions. So when they vote, like at a midterm or in general, they're really going to vote on, hey, how are things going for me? Just what are the effects on my life? And if their life is going really well, then they're not going to want to vote the other way. And if it's going okay, then they'll be like, you know what, maybe a change would be better. Maybe it could be better, right? That's the psychology of it, I think. So Trump has to deliver on tax cuts and price cuts. If those things happen, I think they win the midterms. If they don't, then they lose them.
When are they supposed to pass? I don't know what the hell the bill is called. Like Larry Kudlow keeps talking about one big beautiful bill, or what is that? What is that book called? The
One big beautiful bill. I don't know.
It's the hell is? I guess the budget. I mean, I don't know when are they supposed to pass? Is it the budget? What they call the budget?
I don't know. I don't know when they do that, but I believe they do that every year. But I don't know exactly.
Is it every 6 months? Is it every 6 months?
Every 6 months? I don't know.
Yeah. So those tax
That
cuts and
one
all that.
I never really paid that close attention.
Well, they just did one recently, no? Like, isn't that what Mike Johnson got like shit over?
Yeah,
like
they
try to pass.
Yeah, they were fighting over that.
So there's names for these bills or whatever that they pass, and they keep talking about one big beautiful. Larry Kudlow keeps talking about one big beautiful bill. He wants one bill that basically settles everything, and he wants tax cuts. He says that Trump needs to put tax cuts in there, and he brings up the midterms about that. He says like if they don't get the tax cuts in there, if the American people don't see that, like it's going to be shaky ground in the midterms and yada yada. But yeah, so
right,
I think
and they're probably coming. Right.
Yeah, I don't know if it's every 6 months or what the hell it is, but
so right now, like I said, he's making an omelet, but he's breaking eggs. So he's dealing with tariffs, trade deficits, etc., things like that, right? In order to strengthen America, right there. So he's already this way. You get money from outside the United States. We make more money without fleecing the American public with taxes. That's the beginning. Now you strengthen the money there. Right? You have more money in the coffers, but you didn't take it from Americans. Then, at the same time, you look at the wasteful spending through Doge in the United States government, which is massive. So you cut that spending, right? That's wasteful. You have more money in the coffer to the U.S. Treasury. You make better trade deals around the world. You have more money in the U.S. Treasury, right?
Yeah.
Now, with all that extra money, now we can start to cut taxes.
Yeah.
You deregulate the energy sector, and the price of fuel goes down, which everything is either created by or transported by fuel. So all those
that's
things
what I'm saying.
Like now lead to tax cuts and lower prices. So it's a process that it's going to happen, but it just you have to do the process. You can't jump steps.
I don't know, bro. I don't think
you can't just cut taxes when you haven't actually accounted for that, right? Because you do have to do the budget. So you need to make these better trade deals, right? And cut the wasteful spending. Yeah. Then you have the flexibility to now cut taxes because you can do the budget still because you have that money, that extra money to pay for the budget.
Yeah.
And with the extra money you can still do the budget, but with the extra money you saved on the other things, you can reduce people's taxes. And so I think that's what's going to happen. I think it'll happen relatively shortly, but it is a bit of a process. It depends on how long it takes for all these trade agreements to be solidified. which I don't think will be that long because Trump's really good at this, and he has a very good. He has the United States economy and strength behind him, which we still are strong. Don't get me wrong, but we're way weaker than we used to be. But
Yeah.
he has that. They need us more than we need them. So it'll work, but some people are going to put more of a fight than others. Let me just. I think I can put this very simple, summed up. So in order to win the midterms, you have to do those things, but cutting the tax prices of things. So you make better trade agreements around the world. Some people are going to fight more than others, but essentially we're going to win because they need us more than we need them. So you bring in more money that way into the treasury. Then you cut oil regulations. Everything is transported, or everything is made or transported with energy, so you can bring more money in that way as well, or you can reduce the cost of everything. So you bring more money in through trade agreements. You cut the price of things. You have more money in your pocket because, or now you're able to cut taxes. You have more money in your pocket, and everything's cheaper. And it's just a matter of time till all this happens. It's not even like it would be difficult to do because the previous administration was intentionally raised the price of energy, ergo raised the price of your food, your gas. They did this intentionally to reduce your ability to fight back. Without money, you have no voice. So to reduce the price of things and cut taxes isn't even a difficult thing. You make better trade agreements, you bring in more money, you take that money and you use it to cut taxes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
No, it's simple. And then you just cut you deregulate energy and the price of everything goes down. So it's not like this would be hard to do because this was things that it's like roadblocks they put in there to slow the economy down intentionally. The economy has been hamstrung intentionally by the prior government against the American people to weaken America in order to create a one world government. All Trump has to do is go in and take those roadblocks out and let the water flow. Once the water flows, you're all getting wet with money.
Yeah.
Basically how it's going to work.
We could actually say it wasn't the prior government, it was a prior system. This is a whole new fucking ballgame.
However you want to put it,
yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. It all amounts to the same thing.
Well, yeah, you're right. Like, so then I see that because they've been going back and forth on Harry Kudlow. He keeps calling it a one big beautiful bill, and then Trump will say one powerful bill, and then he'll have like senators on as guests, and they'll tell him, "I want." Kudlow saying, "We has to be one big beautiful bill," and they're like, "I don't know, like maybe I don't care if it's one bill, but I think more likely it's gonna be two bills." They're leaning actually more towards one bill. I think they all think
like
it can
one
happen.
Bill to do what? To like
put
everything?
Put everything. Everything that Trump wants to do it all in one bill. They think they could do it, and Kudlow just makes a big deal about the tax cuts. But based on what you're saying, it is possible to at least get the tax cuts in, even if it does end up being two bills, however they vote on this shit. I think that the tax cuts that Kudlow wants can happen. Even when he first started talking about this, Doge hadn't even really taken in too much of an effect. Kudlow's been talking about it for like over a month or a couple of months. So yeah, I think it would be possible to get all the tax cuts and the budgets of everything, be properly, prioritized and funded the right way.
Right. It's not like it's difficult. Now, there is a caveat to this. So with the trade or the tariffs or the negotiating of the trade agreements around the world, when you have some pushback, like China just did 15% tariff on the United States coal and something else. So, and Canada was saying something, but I think Canada's given in now. But whatever, whenever these tariffs are going on, right, we're breaking eggs. Mm-hmm. You may pay more for some things if you choose to buy them. These particular items that these countries have put tariffs on us in retaliation. So this is the breaking the eggs part where it might be a little more expensive for a minute, but that's going to get you to a whole lot less expensive for the long term, right? So And that's what people are going to say. It was like, oh, everything, the price of this is higher because of Trump. Yeah, that's going to happen, right? Temporarily. But then they will break and it will end.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, those trade agreements that he's going to win are going to put more money in the U.S. Treasury.
Yeah.
Now you can use that extra money to reduce your taxes in the form of what he's already stated: no tax on tips and no tax on overtime. That's completely doable, and I completely expect that to happen. But it's also possible to, reduce it, or I believe around 1914, 1917. I don't know. I think it was World War I. They put it in place as an emergency measure to fund, the World War.
Yeah.
And once they get a hold of that money, they just like, hey, we're going to keep it. We're just going to keep this system in place. So, and Trump has already talked about that, where he said, this income tax is supposed to be a temporary thing. Maybe we reduce it. Maybe we get rid of it altogether. It depends on how much good deals he can make with the world, and it depends on how much government waste he can save. If the numbers are high enough, he could eliminate income tax altogether. Do I see that happening? Probably not completely, but partially. I could see him reducing taxes, but overtime and tips for sure. But the big thing is the price of your gas, the price of your groceries, the price of, you go to Home Depot, wherever. All that stuff comes down because it's all built by energy. So and like I said, the energy water flow was, they put a governor on it to restrict the amount this economy can move. They did that intentionally to make the things higher so that you would be screwed. All he has to do is go in there and remove that governor and let the water flow freely, or the economy flow freely, and it'll just do the work for itself. The economy is good. It was just being intentionally slowed down. And all you have to do is take off that stuff that slowed it down and let it flow, and it's not complicated.
So off that tip, I would say those two things: lowering the taxes, cutting taxes. I mean, obviously the inflation is going to go down naturally once energy starts flowing. But the second thing for sure is he needs to get the voter ID in there everywhere. Implement that. Yeah. I don't know how that would happen.
The funny thing is the only states Kamala Harris won were the states that didn't have voter ID. She didn't win one state that required voter ID.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. That doesn't reek of a corrupt election. I don't know what does. Like, the people who were saying, who Trump was saying rigged elections, and then the next election, the only states they won were ones where you didn't have to have ID to vote, which is just a way of saying a rigged election. No ID to vote. I don't care if the people who say, oh, it's racist or whatever, to have ID to vote, whatever position they want to take, they know they're full of crap. No. They know not having voter ID or ID to vote is corruption, election corruption. They know this. They push this, and yet they say that Trump is wrong for questioning the election. But you're the same people who are pushing election integrity issues are saying he shouldn't question them. But so it's just ridiculous, man. It's obvious. It's obvious for everybody to see. People just lie. Yeah, you shouldn't have voter ID. Right. Bull crap. What country doesn't have voter ID?
Yeah.
What country doesn't have borders? Right?
Well, that's what hopefully that's in the works, man. I mean, he's already throwing it out there. Putting it in California. Shit, if he just did it in California, if he won California, it'd be over, no? If they turn this state red.
I mean, think about how ridiculous it sounds.
They would win.
Someone running for a political office says, "Hey, we shouldn't have voters identify themselves while our borders are open."
You know that idea worked.
If you don't know that guy's corrupt, you're an idiot. I mean,
that idea worked maybe 20 years ago
and not require ID.
Yeah,
huh?
I'm saying that whole concept sort of worked when 20 years ago when computers and stuff like that, they could say, oh, minorities don't have access to to departments and all this crap. But nowadays, it's so easy to get ID and you know what I mean, to get all that system in place, and for everybody, it's simple as hell. And it's just a simple. You've probably seen those videos where they go around asking, like, you know, minorities, black people, that will ask like, "Oh, do you have a license? Do you know where the DMV is at?" "Oh yeah, it's right down the street. It's on this corner and that corner." Like, they're like, "What?" It's like, so that whole idea that, you know, they don't want voter ID because minorities won't have access to that type of you know, system is ridiculous now.
And yet,
Like,
so they demean black people by
yeah, that's the point of
by
it.
basically insinuating that they're stupid, and yet they say Trump's a racist. Who's the racist? You're the one that's saying they're less than you. You figured out how to get voter ID or ID. You know where things are.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they? Oh, because I'm white, I'm just smarter. That's what these people who peddle this race against Trump, that's how they talk to black people.
Yeah.
And I'm so tired of this whole minority, just the whole word is racist in itself, right? We pit ourselves against each other. We look at everything through the prism of what color is your skin. How stupid is that?
Yeah.
Right? Oh, well, I'm a minority. Well, so what does that mean? Your skin's a different shade than mine? That's your thing? Like, and so I'm supposed to just think and base my decisions based on what shade of color my skin is?
Yeah.
Like, that's what you're saying when you say I'm a minority, or we talk like that. Or if I say it, anybody talks like this, whenever you talk like this, you're basically saying, hey, let's reduce the entire conversation down to the shade of skin color.
No.
And it's so ridiculous that,
Sure.
but it's a very effective tool because most people don't ever think past that, and so it works really well to divide people, and that's what they've been using while talking down to you. Hey, the DMV, you need me to walk you there? You know, I can show you how to do it. Your shoes, are they tied? I could probably help you with that too.
Do you ever remember when I think it's Governor Coachel, I don't know how to pronounce her name, the governor of New York, some lady, she made some sort of comment. Yeah. Coachel, she made some sort of comment that was really controversial. She had to apologize afterwards. I think she said something like, "Black people don't know how to use a computer," or something like that. Or
it was something along. Was it her, or was it the Michigan governor?
No, it was her. It was from New York. She said that. She might have said it too. Who knows? But so she said that,
one of
and
them
then
you're right.
And like black people, like on had accounts, they started making videos of like themselves, like walking up to like a laptop and like they're Neanderthals, like touching it, like slapping it, like they don't know how to use it, like
all confused.
Yeah, so it's just
me don't understand. What is this? Oh.
So,
but then they'll call Trump racist while they're just talking down to you, like you're not as intelligent because of your what. I'm white. I'm smarter than you.
Yeah.
That's how liberals talk to black people.
Yeah.
I'm smarter than you because I'm white. You don't know how to do this stuff.
Yeah.
You're going to need my help. Like, I mean, and black people are over it. They're like, dude, shut the fuck up. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm a human being with a brain the same size as yours.
I think it's going to be a full-on campaign. I think it's going to be like a constant thing that they're going to be pushing this for voter ID, national voter ID for every election, every type of election. Because it's the grand, how you could say, equalizer. You know, it's going to be the most truth votes ever. You know what I mean? Like you really see, you know, the voice of the people that way. Otherwise, it's just the constant, you know, just corruption and just lies and cheating that we've been seeing.
You know what's funny about it is like any of these people who are against voter ID in this country, if we told them, hey, Putin is against voter ID, or any other country, they'd be like, oh, see?
Of course.
Tyranny, corruption.
Yeah.
But then they promote it here.
Well, I don't know.
I mean, because they're just pathological liars who are addicted to power and money. They think that's going to make them happy, and the funny thing is, it's a bottomless pit that you're always hungry for more. You're never satiated. You're never full.
I think this topic is one of those ones that goes back to the media and the power that they've had. They've always shaped the narrative that most people agree that there shouldn't be voter ID because minorities won't have access to that system. But I think if there was like an honest, like some sort of tally of like asked everybody and some sort of poll, the majority of the country would say like, yeah, why the hell not? Like, of course, like I want my vote to count, want everybody's vote to count and be secure. Like, I think for sure most people will go for it.
What's interesting about this conversation that we're having right now is like we keep referring to ID as voter ID, right? Yeah. What is a voter ID? Where do you get one of those?
Well, I mean, it's basically your license, no? Well, okay. I've heard different ideas. I've heard of putting serial numbers on every ballots and stuff like that. That's not a bad idea, you know. So every one of them could be tracked to whoever it's for.
Right, and that's a good idea. Yeah. But my point with the voter ID is it's funny how we use they use semantics to kind of skew what's really going on. Because your voter ID is nothing more than your driver's license or your DMV ID if you don't drive, which anybody can get, simple, right? And we all have one. Yeah. But they're like, well, minorities aren't going to be able to get voter ID. But they already fucking have it because it's not called voter ID; it's called a driver's license, and you already know this, right? Everyone has one.
Yeah, I guess you're right. And even in talking and having this conversation, I keep picturing it as a separate ID that you have to go and register, and it's like sounds like a pain in the ass, but it don't even got to be that.
You already have one in your wallet, but the way they phrase it, they change it from just ID to voter ID, like it's some sort of separate form of identification you need just to vote. It's not. It's just your driver's license, right? And so they're telling all these black people or whoever, oh man, I don't know if they can get their voter ID. It's in their wallet. Yeah. They have it in their purse. They have it. They can't drive anywhere without it. Yeah. Right? You can't go anywhere. You can't go to a bar without it. You know, you can't go a lot of places without it. So everyone has one on them most of the time. And if they don't, they have it at home and they can just go get it and go vote. Right, but they don't have to go get a separate ID. But this is once again this semantic game where they are like, well, voter ID. What the hell is a voter ID? No one has one of those. No. Like,
yeah, the serial number idea. I think they used like lottery tickets as a kind of a point. If a lottery ticket can have a serial number, like why can't a ballot? You know, like. They could just be
they can. An election integrity is simple and completely doable, but you have a political party in this country that doesn't want it, and they use emotional tugs and division, race, in order to try to get away from that, and which tells you unequivocally that they are trying to steal elections. And then they want to point a finger at somebody else saying, hey, you won't accept the election results. Right, because you guys are actively, openly sabotaging and rigging elections. Yeah. You're admitting it by saying you shouldn't have to ID yourself to vote. But then you want to question someone who questions an election where no one had ID? No. I mean, it's so simple. But once again, this is just people who lie and deceive, and they're fine with it because they're going to get theirs.
I think when the 2020 election is going to come back up and everything's going to be revealed, and in that context, I think they're going to really start pushing a campaign of voter ID law for sure across the country. So, you know, I don't mind being completely optimistic that it's going to happen. That they're gonna still sweep in the midterms and stuff like that. I think it's. I just can't see. I can't see anything.
I mean, I imagine they're going to, because I imagine that grass is going to be really green, but I can't commit 100% to that because, you know, there's always things that come up that you don't foresee, and you know, and then there's the whole world. You got world events. There's a lot of things that could derail that, but the probability of them derailing it is pretty low, and the probability of it happening is probably pretty high. So I think the midterms very well may go their way, but like I said, it's going to come down to, you know, like the guys we work with. Do they have more money in their pocket and do things cost less? And is it enough savings for me to go, you know what, I ain't changing this, right? If you're in a position where you're doing really well compared to where you were, then you're going to be like, no, why would I change this? It has to be that way in order for them to win the midterms. They're not going to win the midterms on talking points, rallies or all that. That stuff isn't going to do it. That they could help, but what's going to lock it in or what's going to win it or lose it is the regular person's finances.
Yeah.
Have they improved enough that it's like, no, I'm not voting against this stuff. This stuff is going good. If that's that's the majority's feeling, they win. If that's not the majority's feeling, they lose.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure they're going to have to do something for sure, something major, because I'm pretty positive the Democrats they're waiting for that opportunity. If they're able to do something to get back the House or the Senate or both, that's the only way that they're going to thwart anything that Trump's trying to do. I would think the
Democrats. I would think that they would understand exactly what I just said as well. I'm pretty sure they get it. And so if they want to win the midterms, their playbook is actually to continue to sabotage the United States economy and the United States people's finances. That's the only way. That's their only real path to victory in the midterms, is to screw you over even more than you've been being screwed over when they were in power. Like they want to really, yeah. So think about that. It crossed my mind right now. That's actually what they need to do in order to win, is to screw over Americans. Yeah. They have to do it. Although they're going to lose because like I said, all this economy, it was flowing great when Trump was president the first time. Then they put all these blocks in place to slow the flow down, and all he's got to do go in is just walk in and kick those blocks out of the way and let the economy flow again, and then they're going to win the midterms. If the Democrats don't keep those blocks in place or do some new different blocks, some way to hamstring the economy and the regular American finances, if they don't do that, they will lose the midterms. Yeah. So it's a weird position they're in, that they have to actually work against the regular American people. And they're going to get a lot of the regular American people that they're actively sabotaging to go out and champion them. No, vote for these people. Vote, yes. Get rid of Trump. We got to get rid of Trump and put this person in. This person who's sabotaging my personal finances is my guy. That's literally what's going to happen. Yeah. It's crazy, and I don't know that there's going to be a lot of them, because if this plays out the way I think, the economy is going to be so good and people are going to be in such good shape.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to sell.
That they're going to be like, hey, I ain't doing it. But some people are just nutty enough that they'll still do it. Like, I hate my good life. Let's make it worse. There's literally people that think like that.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, I think it's in the work, man, but he's already thrown it out there. But I think for sure California is something that he should focus on. I wonder if he'll be able to get that. I don't know when the hell they need federal funding, but he'd already put that out there, that in one of the conditions is that they need to implement. Well, the water. I think the water was one of the conditions. He wanted them to open the water, and he wanted California to start installing voter ID, but that kind of went away. They haven't really talked about it too much. But, well, that's one of just a few topics, I guess. What else have we not covered as far as what the hell he's doing? I should have had some more stuff prepared, but other than that, I mean...
Well, we haven't done one in, like you said, like almost 3 months, something like that.
Yeah, since November.
But I'll say this.
October,
like,
sorry.
Me personally, so my grass is already super green, right? Just because he got elected. Because I held crypto. Mm-hmm. The day of the election, my crypto, I was down $300. Right now, I'm up about 30 grand. And that's just because he got elected. Like literally the next day, I was down 300. The next day, I was up 3 grand. And right now I'm up 30 grand. And it's just going to go more, right? So this is like, do you want to prosper and your family to prosper? Then this is the way to go. And it's pretty clear. And it's going to be a whole lot clearer for everybody. No. If you don't, then vote for the other side. They want you to suffer. They want you to go to work and work really hard and pay taxes, inflated prices, so that they can siphon off a lot of that money for their own wealth, for their own mansions, for their own power.
No.
And that's I don't think we've ever had a clear divide or clear picture. I don't think we've ever been so far apart on how easy it is to see which is the good side and which is the bad side.
No.
Like normally it's like, well, I don't really agree. Like when Clinton ran for president, I remember that. And I'd always voted Republican, and I voted for the Bushes, and which I now regret. They're all corrupt. Clinton's corrupt. Bushes were corrupt, so I didn't know all that. But I remember all my group, my friends, they were all Bush people. So when Clinton ran, I'd never even heard of the guy, and they were like, I ain't vote for that guy. Screw that. Vote for Bush. Just automatically. And I was like, well, I don't know. I got to hear him out. I haven't heard him out. I would vote for a Democrat if they made more sense and they seemed legitimate. If it was going to be better for the country and better for myself, then yeah. So that's what I'm going to do, because the line between who was the good guy and the bad guy wasn't so obvious then. And actually, they were both bad guys, but I didn't know that. Right? But it was hard. It was really hard to see. Now, it's the gap is so wide and so easy to see that if you vote against Trump, you're basically voting against yourself at this point, unless something unforeseen happens.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think we're in a really good place now, and things should go really well for everybody, even the people who don't like Trump. You're going to save money. You're going to spend less money on things. You're going to have more money in your paycheck. It's going to be good for you, and you'll still be angry about it.
No shit.
Or a lot of people will be.
Well, yeah.
Some people have made the switch, and they're like, you know what? Yeah.
Well, I guess another component, I guess, of just part of what Trump's doing is not necessarily just his policies. They got to take care of the DEI. He's already outlawed transgender. I think he signed the executive order outlawing transgender for anybody under 18. Elon Musk is cutting the bureaucracy, cutting the waste and funding for real this time. The other component is RFK Jr. He's gonna go after the pharmaceutical industry and try to get all this poison out of the food and all that stuff, man. Like, and they're crazy just opposing him too. Like, they just find excuses to go after him. They're already trying to paint him like as a certain as a vaccine skeptic, and they're trying to just already come up with names for him too. But all around, it's just going to be so much for the people, for the voters to for sure be in support of Trump and the whole administration and all their policies and stuff like that. So I think for sure it's guaranteed. I cannot see what the Democrats,
just watching some of
what the Democrats could possibly say to sway anybody. So
like watching the RFK confirmation hearings. I watched some of that today, and I think it was Pocahontas or Warren who was talking about, or maybe it was a different senator, but anyway, one of the Democrats was talking about how RFK didn't believe in the vaccines and all this stuff. And it's like, well, did the vaccines work? No. People got the vaccine and still got fucking COVID. That's fact. So the vaccine did not keep you from getting COVID, because COVID's a virus, just like the common cold. You can't cure a virus. Never been cured. They mutate too fast. So him now, it could cure it could block the strain at the time, just like the flu virus, if you get the right strain vaccine. But you have a very small amount of time before it mutates into a new strain. So the vaccines aren't exactly effective So yeah, he's skeptical about that because the government was saying you get the vaccine and you won't get COVID.
Yeah.
Yet people were getting the vaccine and getting COVID multiple times. So that's not him being a conspiracy theorist, which is what they're calling him. That's facts.
Yeah.
But the pharmaceutical companies, Pfizer and et cetera, are paying these politicians, in the form of campaign contributions, et cetera, um, to push their narrative so that they can make more vaccines and make more money. Because think about it, like, it just came out that, they for sure that the COVID came from Wuhan lab.
Yeah.
So it's a Chinese lab virus. Now, at the time that happened, prior to that, right, just before that, they had the military Olympics in China, in Wuhan, China. So they brought a bunch of people from around the world to compete in these military Olympics right next to a lab where they engineered COVID. They probably infected them and then sent them around the world intentionally to do this. And it was probably in conjunction with the United States because this whole one world thing, we're locked into just this country or that country. But at the end of the day, the pharmaceutical companies were able to make these vaccines for a man-made created disease that they intentionally spread in order to, what was it, $30 a vaccine, something like that, a shot they were getting paid. So you need to get a vaccine. Everybody in the world, billions of people in the world needed this $30 vaccine. And then you need another one. And then you need another one, right?
Yeah.
And that was probably the biggest money grab in the world's history.
Yeah.
So yeah, these politicians are going to be doing the pharmaceuticals dirty work because the pharmaceutical companies are getting ridiculous amounts of money, and they're passing that along to the people in power politically who are promoting this virus on purpose.
Yeah. Well,
that's crazy, but that's what happened.
RFK's approach is actually pretty simple. The two major things I think he wants to do is, number one is he wants to, I guess I saw some guy yesterday, we started talking about RFK real quick, that for vaccines, all the vaccines they mandate on children when they're born and stuff like that, there's a clause, I guess, in the contract, whatever, when they sell this, that they're not liable for any injuries caused by what they might think is the vaccine. RFK wants to reverse that. He wants them to now be liable. And he thinks in doing that the pharmaceutical industry themselves are going to pull these vaccines. And it's going to prove, well, if it was so damn important, why the hell would you want to pull it? Because either make it safe or stand by it, you know what I mean? So that's one thing that he wants to do. And then the second thing, I guess he wants to, and I never considered this, but I guess, yeah, it makes sense. He wants to outlaw these pharmaceutical companies from being able to advertise on television. You heard about that one?
Yeah.
So I guess that the way, and it makes sense if you think about it. These commercials, they were always stupid. They never seemed influential. It was always some guy walking through a forest and like a fake butterfly, floating around, and just ridiculous situations. And then at the end of the commercial, it was just a list of all the things that could go wrong. You could die, you could have blood in your stool, and all this shit. So what they think now is the idea that these weren't meant to be influential. Nobody saw these commercials and said, "Oh, I got to go to my doctor and get this." It was literally just to buy off the media. It was to buy off the news stations so that they weren't investigating them, because they were paying top dollar for those commercial spots. So it was just a way of just buying them off, so that they weren't, right. So they thought they wouldn't investigate the pharmaceutical industry. And if you think about it, it's worked. You've never seen like any sort of deep dive into, how they operate from like any major media outlet. So he wants to outlaw those commercials and then make the pharmaceutical industries liable for the vaccines. That's like, just for starters, what he wants to do. On top of, you've already seen those videos where they compare the types of ingredients that are in our food compared to other countries, like the ones in Europe and stuff like that. I think they put just McDonald's French fries. It was literally 3 ingredients: potatoes, salt, and like oil. And then here in the United States, it's like 11 different ingredients, like like just common sense shit. Like, and that's all he's trying to do.
Well,
And,
I'm sure you've seen that RFK speech a while back. I think when he was first saying he was supporting Trump, he gave a speech, one of the best speeches I've ever heard. Super informative and very articulate. But the information he put out there and the theories that he proposed were like, oh yes, he's right. And the stuff I didn't realize. And so this is how he says it works: is the food companies, which are regulated by the FDA, regulate themselves. The majority of the money given and people who regulate food companies, food processing companies, are food processing employees. The FDA doesn't do hardly any of that because they're getting paid off. Then the food companies put these extra ingredients in your food, processed food, and they make you sick, right? So people get sick intentionally through the food companies, which the government has not been regulating because they're getting paid off. Then you get sick, then the pharmaceutical companies come in, and now they got a pill for that.
Yeah.
Right?
They got a steady flow of sick people.
This is just a circular game. Yeah. They're intentionally making Americans sick in order to sell them drugs and keep them on these drugs for life. And that's a revelation to me that they would do. That is beyond evil.
Yeah.
So they're feeding people poison on behalf of the pharmaceutical companies, so the pharmaceutical companies can come in and give you not a cure, but a remedy that you can take daily or whatever, but you take for the rest of your life, or unless you change your diet to something that they're not making and maybe correct it.
No.
And then the Russia-Ukraine war, he said was started by the United States and perpetuated by the United States. And okay. So it's ridiculous. Like even the obesity in the United States is ridiculous. The rest of the country doesn't look like this. If you look at pictures from 100 years ago in the United States, almost everybody's thin. Obesity was a rarity. Now it's the norm.
Well,
and it's intentional because obesity makes you sick. Now you need some sort of pharmaceutical. I don't know what it is for, like obese people. They have some drugs for that. They have drug for everything, but, get you fat, get you unhealthy in one way or another.
Yeah.
Then we come in and we make billions of dollars on selling you a pill. We'll put it, like you said, we'll make a commercial with a pretty little butterfly flying through the forest.
Yeah.
Right? But we're the ones that made you sick. And now we're going to act like we're the good guys that are coming in to help you. But you're not. You made us sick intentionally in order to make money.
Yeah.
It's sick.
He's got some clear statistics, man. Actually, I think
he's good.
One of the ones I saw was it started in the early 90s. That's when the all this system started happening. It was with the vaccines at first, and then little by little the obesity rate started going up. But I forgot how he explains, but it had to do with the FDA always being run by somebody that was a former executive of one of these food companies or some shit like that. Like, and they regulated themselves and allowed everything to happen. And it was just a loop with the pharmaceutical industry. And this guy's been fighting it forever. So that kind of takes me to another point, man, which is kind of crazy. Is I think we had talked about it, that if Trump had won in 2020, majority of these things that he's doing now would not have happened, man. Like this time around, man, we didn't, if you really think about it, we didn't get just one Trump. We almost got like a few. We got, Elon Musk doing the financial part, cutting bureaucracy. If Trump had won in 2020, even if he wanted to do that, he wouldn't have had the right person. Even Musk didn't support him. Musk voted for Biden in 2020. RFK was kind of off the radar back then. He was fighting this fight, but it took all the way to 2024 for him to run. And then, shit, if you even think about it, RFK, the word is that he actually reached out to Kamala first before Trump to see if she wanted to unite. But they were so stupid and so stuck with the agenda, they turned him down flat. And Trump, I guess, was.
The pharmaceutical company said no.
Oh yeah, word for Kamala. Yep.
They told Kamala, no, Kamala.
Just hung up on her.
Kamala said, yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're in charge, not me.
Yeah. So yeah, this time around, man, shit was just meant to be.
Like this: Trump, RFK, Elon Musk, Tulsi Gabbard, they're all Democrats.
Yeah.
All of them are registered Democrats.
Yep.
All the people that Democrats hate right now used to be Democrats. Why are they not Democrats anymore? Because you guys have gone off the fucking rails. You guys you guys use all this crazy stuff to get money. It's all it is.
Yeah.
And they're like, enough. You're causing so much damage that it may be irreversible. And honestly, the situation in the United States is so bad. Like the national debt's what, 36 trillion? That's about 25% of everything in the United States, including the land. Everything is leveraged. 25% of the entire country is leveraged to debt. And people, I don't know about tariffs. Well, how do you feel about your country just failing completely? I mean, we don't have much choices now. $36 trillion in debt, that's more than countries are even worth.
No.
You could buy a whole country for that. It's a quarter of our country. You could probably buy several countries for that.
No.
Right? We got to start getting these frickin' electrical wires off the car.
No.
Save the guy inside. Come on.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, he's got a good team. This is a video real quick of Pete Hegseth. I don't know if you've seen it. He's talking to a bunch of just military. He's a big crowd of military guys. It looks cool, man. I don't got it on my computer, but I don't know if I could play the audio real quick. It sounds pretty cool. Let me see. They play it through the microphone.
It's real basic. It's real straightforward. We are warfighters. We train to be lethal. We train to prepare for and fight wars if our nation requires us to do so. Full stop. End of sentence.
This dude is probably.
So it just looks awesome because it has like a dark room of just a bunch of military guys, and you just compare that to kind of the mentality of what what the military was like before, where they're just pushing DEI and all that crap. So just kind of just fits with what we're saying. They got Musk on finance, they got Kennedy on health. Trump, being the puppet master, and then we got people like Pete Hegseth. You're gonna reform the entire military. You got Tom Homan on immigration. Just hardcore, strong team, man. It's just unbelievable, man.
It is, and we should be really happy right now. I mean, not lose sight of that part of it. Is like how great things are right now. The situation is, and thanks to freedom-loving Americans who would not back down. Yeah. That's what this really comes down to. It comes down to Trump's tenacity and God's hand on him, and the American people saying, we will not stand for this. We believe in liberty. Yeah. And that's really where the credit goes to. And like I said, people are going to see the results of this, even the people who didn't vote for Trump. You're going to end up in a much better position financially and security-wise. And you're welcome.
Yeah, I think he's gonna make. He's gonna turn a lot of people, man. He'll make a lot of people proud. All these people, they want to fight for, or fight for other countries. They'll be proud to be American. They'll be proud that they're in this country and they got the opportunities that he's gonna be providing, man. So definitely.
Yeah, it looks like good stuff ahead. Yeah. And I'm just looking forward to these trade negotiations to getting completed. because that's when the real stuff starts happening. That is the real stuff, but that's when the real savings start coming in. That's when, you're going to see lower prices and lower taxes. Is once that's completed, the energy's already flowing, so that's going to start kicking in too with lower prices. So yeah, it all looks good. We did a great job, America, on fighting and taking our country back.
Well,
and I'm proud of that. Like that was the battle. Like I said, that was a battle of a lifetime. It wasn't a physical battle, but it was a political battle that was unlike anything I've ever seen.
Yeah,
And
it was interesting.
And we held our ground and we won. And now we're going to reap the benefits. And even the people who fought against it are going to reap the benefits. If it had went the other way, we would reap the pain and suffering that would have been added more than it already was, and the people who voted for it would have reaped those same problems. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a good thing, man. I was, like I said, so happy that it worked out this way. If it didn't, we were in trouble. I was even thinking about maybe go to a different country, man, get the hell out of here. I'm already leaving California unless he can fix California. I'm out of here in a couple of years when I retire. But and then I was like, where am I going to go in the world? This is everywhere. The ironic thing is the one country that really came to mind was Poland. I was like, I'll go to Poland, man. Those guys don't play. They're like, hey, we're keeping our traditions, we're keeping our way of life, we're keeping our culture.
Yeah. And
they won't back down. And that's one of the few countries that I can think of that is like that. But I don't really want to go to Poland. But that was the country that seems like, ironically, they seem to be the smartest country on the planet right now, even though all the jokes about being stupid are like Polish. Like, hey, how many pulls does it take to put in a light bulb or whatever, Yeah. But they're the only ones that are going, no, we're not playing this transgender immigration bullshit game you guys are playing. We see what you're doing and we're not doing it. We're not going to suffer in our country because you guys want to fleece the world. It's not just the United States that are fleecing; it's the whole world. But we're the big one that stands in the way of tyranny, worldwide tyranny, or worldwide government. Where the United States is the stumbling block for them. We're the beacon of liberty around the world, and so they really had to put it on us hard because you need to weaken the United States and the United States public enough financially and politically in order to achieve that goal of a one world tyrannical government.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, things are good, man. So
yeah, we made it. We made it for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
I'm a big fan of alternate history stories and stuff like that. How things could have gone in different directions, and and I don't know if you believe in the theory of alternate dimensions, man. So if alternate dimensions is true, I'm glad that at least we're in the dimension where Trump survived that bullet.
Oh, you mean like a multiverse?
Yeah, if he had not survived that, man, we'd definitely be living in that horrible world.
That was God's hand. And I'll give you an example of why that was God's hand. Not just that it happened and all that. It's pretty clear that was God's hand. But if you go back to George Washington, George Washington, before he was president, before he was a general, he was a courier for the English, and he would be riding his horse and passing messages along. And courier was a super dangerous job. Most of them got killed from Indians and stuff like that. And George Washington had at least 2 horses shot out from underneath him. One time on a courier ride, he had 4 bullet holes in his jacket, but he never got shot. And an Indian chief, later on, he becomes president. An Indian chief wanted to meet him. Or I don't even know if he was president at the time, but anyway, one of these Indian chiefs wanted to meet him, and he just told him, he goes, I just wanted to meet the man that a higher power's protection is over. Because he's like, we shot you a lot of times. I think he shot.
I never heard that story. Really?
Yeah. So George Washington has the same story essentially as Trump, is that he got shot, but he didn't get hurt.
No.
Essentially. So the founding of our country story is essentially, you know what I mean? So you can see, and George Washington would always pray before, you know, he would go to battle. He they had the cross on the flag. The majority of the founding fathers all wrote about God and God's presence and protection over the United States. And so this country is founded on God and God's protection, and that's why this country's thrived like it is. It's not white privilege. It's a faithfulness to God, and God rewards that.
Yeah.
And we got away from that hard, and we were suffering hard. And now God came in and said, "You know what? I'm gonna give you guys an opportunity here. Save Trump." It was God. He knows it now. At first he was like, "Yeah, I think," but now he's like, "Yeah, this was God." And that story of George Washington, I think, really, you know, kind of shows that. And that's my belief. You know, if you're a country or a people or whatever, an individual, if you have God, then you're going to have God's protections, God's favor. If you don't, then you're not. It's just that simple. Like MAGA, I like to say, "Make America Great Again." I make America godly again, because making it godly is great. It doesn't get greater than godly, because without that, I'm telling you, without that, no one's going to be doing well. You remove God, and you're in trouble.
Yeah.
And so I think that's really what it's come down to, is that God has given the United States another opportunity to get back on track with Him,
To find their faith.
and
Yeah.
hopefully that works.
I think so.
You know?
I think it's just going to be so much positivity that, you know, people are going to, it's going to just radiate, you know, amongst people. People are going to be.
Yeah, I don't know if people are gonna turn that way, but, or, you know, I think you'll have more people turning that way because, you know, Trump's talking about it, and like even like at his rallies right before the election. One rally was like right before, it was in Pennsylvania, same place, Butler, Pennsylvania. He went back there. I don't know if you saw this rally, but at the end he had people singing. This guy singing. It was like, good guy, could sing like crazy. He's like an opera singer or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't forget his name, but he was singing a lot of patriotic songs, America the Beautiful, but he was also singing a lot of religious songs.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, okay. So, he, you know, Trump is putting that back out there,
Yeah.
on God's behalf. So, yeah. Now, the entire effect of that, I'm not sure, but we have an opportunity here. Stick with God, and we'll be good. If we don't, we won't. That's just, you know, that's my belief, and I'm certain of it. But
Yeah.
you know,
Nah,
people
good,
will
bro.
disagree.
Nah, that's good right there, bro. So we could end on that right there, my brother. That's a good message, and for sure, we're all grateful that we're witnessing all this and being able to experience it, and you know, I think the best is still yet to come. I think there's all the places just being put in place, and we're gonna see
Right.
that it was worth it.
Absolutely.
It was all worth it. You know, I mean, hopefully for most people.
I'll tell you what, though, that whole ride sucked. That was a terrible 4 years.
Yeah, it was like I said earlier, man. It was interesting just to see how corrupt and how evil these people really can be. You know, just they completely exposed themselves. You know, to how far they're willing to go. So that, you know, as bad as it was just them completely exposing them, who they really are, man. And that's what I think was interesting to me. And then just have
But
somebody.
you know, it's like Richard Nixon said: until you've been at the lowest in the valley, you won't ever enjoy the mountaintop.
Oh yeah. He said that in his
You know what I mean?
his last speech, no, when he left the White House.
I'm not sure, but I know he said something along those lines.
Yeah.
Basically, if unless you've suffered, you won't enjoy you won't be grateful for what you have unless you've had some pain in your life. And so, the last 4 years sucked, but it makes us a lot more grateful and a lot more protective of our liberty and our faith. So it is good, but it was not fun. But ultimately, it was good because it created a situation where people are more grateful for what they do have.
Yeah. All right, my brother. Well, we get in on that note, bro. It was a good show.
All right, yeah. So coming up, we'll do MLK and our RFK assassination.
Yeah, we'll get some time just to at least to follow up on that and just to do some research and stuff.
Well, we haven't done those yet. Since they're going to release the files, we'll do a video on each of those just to research it out and see what our theories are, and then when the files come out, we'll see how close to correct we are. Just with the JFK, same thing. We already did it.
Yeah.
When the files come out, if they reveal information, then we'll know how close to right or wrong we were. It'd be interesting. It'll be fun.
Yeah. All right, then, bro. Well, it's good to be back on the show, man. So it's been long enough, man. It's all good. So, all right, bro. We'll talk after then. Another good one.
All right, man. Take care.
Okay.